Right, so it's Super Sunday 2.0, and it comes in the form of a South Indian derby this time, at Hyderabad taking on Chennai, and it's going to be a riveting one. Ask us why when we start the show. Ask us why, because we have Nick Knight for starters, and B, Chennai Super Kings simply are in that realm of do or die. So let's just put the predictions out first before we move it on and deep dive, I should say. Nick, what is it going to be? Chennai or Hyderabad?
Okay, I've thought long and hard about this. I'm going to go with Chennai. And I know that goes slightly sort of, twist around a little bit because you look at the table and you think, hang on, one's near the bottom, one's near the top. I've just got a gut feeling. It is nothing more than a gut feeling. I know Chennai are not playing their best cricket. I know they only won a couple of games. I know that their captain is really struggling. I know their top of the order is struggling. I've just got a gut feeling that they've got a bit more in them, Chennai, than they've given so far. And also, I've made mention in previous shows, I strongly feel that conditions will start to dictate a little bit more now. I think if Jadeja can come in with the ball, Thigshana, I still think they've got to back Moeen and back him and bat him at number 3. I know Santner's done okay. I would get Moeen back in, bit of off spin, bat at number 3. I just think they've got their bowling resources better now as well. I like Pretorius. I think he adds more to the side. I like him. Obviously, Bravo. I think Chowdhury. I think they've got something to work with there as a team. But I know that it's going to be very difficult against a side that's played, won 5 out of the last 6 games.
Yeah, CSK, though, we'll start with them because, like you said, they might be sweating on Moeen Ali's injury fitness because he had an ankle issue. But apart from that, there were lessons to be learned from the last time the reverse fixture where Hyderabad ran away with, 8 wickets and canted home. What do you think they learned from that fixture? Because I think CSK were 154. They set up a target of 155 and then Hyderabad kind of chased it down. Do you think the toss will be critical in this game?
Yeah, I do. I think the toss against SRH is really important. I mean, Kane Williamson's had the Midas touch, hasn't he? The coin toss. I think it was only the last one where he lost the toss. I mean, I think he won 7 in a row, something ridiculous like that. And of course, not only has he won the toss, but his side have responded to what he's done. So bowl first and chase. And of course, in the last game, it was flipped on its head a little bit, although they had a massive target to defend, but they couldn't quite do that. So, yeah, I do think that. I mean, when you're a side like SRH that feels so comfortable with a formula that's worked, and the team formula has kind of been working together, everyone knows their roles. We're going to do that. We've done that well. You do that then. I'll do that then. It's sort of quite formulaic, and players like that a little bit because they sort of know where they fit into it. And as soon as you've got to bat first, albeit they got 195, it just sort of changes the dynamic a little bit. So I think that is important. I think if you win the toss, if you're at CSK, absolutely have a bowl first and try and see if you can unsettle. Is that the right word? Maybe, but let's see. But I think the toss, you're right, is quite important.
You mentioned that 195. Now 196 is what they conceded. In fact, 199 if we have to be really right. Was that an aberration for Kane Williamson and his bowlers? Because you look at that pace-heavy attack, you would have never thought they would have bled so many runs, but they did.
Yeah, and again, sorry to be repetitive here, but when you look at the conditions, you look at, what a wonderful bowling line. I mean, Trajan, I think, has been fantastic. Jansen, obviously, as well. And then you add Bhuvi into that. They've got all the options. What they don't have, though, is a mystery spinner. Washington Sundar is a very, very, very effective spinner and a very good cricketer, all-round cricketer. I love the way he bats as well. But when you come into the second half of a tournament, when you think the pitches might dry out a little bit and help the spinners, it's great if you've got a mystery spinner. I don't think SRH have got a mystery spinner they can go to. And I just wonder whether in the back half of the tournament, when you're reliant on your seamers, who don't get me wrong, they're very clever and they'll use the cutters and they'll take the pace off themselves and they'll get something out of a dry surface. But it's nice if you've got a mystery spinner as well. So, maybe that just hamstrung them slightly in the last game with the pitches drying out. But let's not read too much into it. I don't think you should read too much into it. I mean, it was an amazing game, wasn't it? It was a brilliant finish. Rashid Khan there finishing it off in that last over. So I don't think they'll worry about that. I don't think they'll say, oh, gosh, things are not going for us anymore. I think it'll just be tick on, move on. And let's get back to the next game. So I think it's going to be a cracking game. I really do. I think it's going to be so much to like about it.
One man that you touched upon there was Washington Sundar, of course, and he's not a mystery spinner, but he still does the holding rope. I mean, sometimes some people say that he gives you exactly what you need as a captain, and it makes you think what sets him apart from the other off spinners. A typical off spinner, he comes around, he creates his angles. Is that the best way to fill this Rashid Khan void, which they've suffered from clearly?
Well, good luck filling that void, but you've got to try and do it in some way. What I like about Washington Sundar, actually, I did quite a lot of sort of research into Washington. He's one of my, I really like him as a cricketer. I really do. I saw him on that Australian tour, and I just thought, wow, he just looks so relaxed in the international stage. So, you know, the way he plays his batting as well, everything just looks very natural to him. So I started looking at how he's getting his wickets and how he bowls in T20 cricket. And actually what I realised is that when he bowls well, he bowls wicket to wicket. He goes round the wicket a lot to the lefties, and he bowls wicket to wicket anyway. And then when he started the tournament this time around, he bowled a lot to the lefties, in particular outside the off stump. He just didn't quite have his rhythm, didn't quite have his lines, didn't quite have his lengths, and he didn't quite settled quickly. But now he's back to bowling wicket to wicket. So as a player, not a huge turner of the ball, you as a batter, you've got to do all the work yourself because you don't have the angles of the ball to create. So I think one of his great skills is just bowling wicket to wicket, a little bit of hold, a little bit of pace variation, and making the batter do all the work. And he's very, very good at that. And I think that's probably his best asset.
Okay, another player-specific question then from me, and I'm going to ask you about Amity Rayudu, who of course shone bright for Chennai, despite them losing to Punjab the other night. How important is he going to be for the Super Kings if they have to make a fist of things? Because I'm guessing, A, they'll have to treat every game like a cup final, and B, they'll expect all the experienced players to come to the fore dramatically, right?
Yeah. I mean, without doubt. You look at CSK's experience, you look at what's worked for them in previous years. That experience is the word that keeps coming up. Senior players, seen it, done it many times, many years, and he would encapsulate all of that and more. He's a wonderful cricketer. He's a good cricketer now because he's experienced, but he also identifies game situations well. I think they work well together. Shivam Dubey, I think, is a real catalyst for some of their best cricket. He hasn't quite got going the last couple of games, but I like the way those two bat in the middle. So yeah, absolutely. And he's still got plenty to give. I mean, that catch he took probably a couple of weeks ago now, but he's still got plenty to give. Amity Rayudu, I think he's a player that will probably, if CSK are to prosper, and I'm backing them to prosper in the back end of the tournament, if they are, then you're absolutely right. He's got to play a major role in that. But you ideally want him coming in with a start, and the kind of thing, it dovetails, doesn't it? Because Gaikwad's not got going, Uthappa's had his moments, and they're not really going. You know, Moeen hasn't got going at number 3 and now out the side. You just feel that you don't want Rayudu coming in at 6 for 2 very often, 10 for 2. So they've had to sort of rejig their order a little bit. So if they can get some solidity at the top, I think that'll help Rayudu make a real impact as well.
Okay, let's see if he comes to the party in this one. Let's just finish up asking Nick about the venue, because we already got his predictions. He was at Pune, in fact, did many of the games covering from the MCA Stadium. What is it going to be? I mean, is it going to suit one side more, do you feel, or do you think it's just going to be a different sort of surface altogether?
I mean, that's the only thing, really. I've done a lot of games there. They've also missed a couple of games, remember, because Delhi were due to play there a week or 10 days ago. And of course, Delhi's COVID problems, they played in Mumbai. So the ground there at Pune almost had a week or 10 days off, or not having the cricket. And it's had not used up 2 surfaces that perhaps it would have done if Delhi had played on that ground at that time. So, what I'm getting to is the pitches are probably a little fresher. The conditions there are a little fresher. So then you're looking at perhaps the quicker bowlers again. You're perhaps looking at the impact of the quicker bowlers, perhaps less so than the spinners. But as spinners have proven in the early part of the tournament, and many spinners have done it, you don't need necessarily a spinning pitch to get wickets and be effective as a spinner. So, yeah, the pitches there generally have gone through pretty well. They've left some grass on. They've been pretty fresh. And if you bowl well with the new ball, then it's not been easy. So again, it's easy to highlight the bowling, but again, it does highlight the batting. And if you've got 2 players that can get through that first 2 overs, that first 3 overs, assess the conditions and kick on from there, you've got a great chance. If you're losing 2 wickets, as often sides are there in those sort of first 2 or 3 overs, it's mighty hard to get back in the game.
Yeah, especially if people look at Umran Malik and kind of look at the pitch, they would just kind of be, fearful in playing him out. Let's see how it all unfolds, because there are various fascinating subplots, of course. That's all we have in this one with me, Avni Shagdi, and Nick Knight, of course. We'll catch him soon on our platforms. You guys can tune in to the Super Sunday late night show where we'll be reviewing both the games. Catch you guys then. It's a goodbye from me, because I certainly need a breath of fresh air.